Hello viewers. Welcome to Legendary Muscles. As you probably already know, diet is just as crucial to muscle growth as exercise. In fact, eating poorly will hurt your performance. In this video, we'll talk about the diets that great old-school bodybuilders like Tom Platz, Frank Zane, and Arnold Schwarzenegger used to get their legendary physiques. The 1970s and 1980s are often referred to as the golden era of bodybuilding, since many people believe that those years marked the sport's apex. At this time, bodybuilders still had an athletic appearance while being slender and strong. They possessed the traditional V-shaped body and well-defined waists. There were very few mass monsters. There were no growth hormone guts, and it could be argued that the bodybuilders of yesteryear were healthier too. Sure, steroids were in use, but the amounts were small by today's megadose standards. Even elite competitors cycled them, spending as much time off the performance-enhancing drugs as they did on. Training-wise, old-school bodybuilding workouts haven't changed all that much. Back in the 1970s and 1980s, bodybuilders mainly used body part splits, such as the push-pull legs program, although even Arnold Schwarzenegger sometimes used full-body workouts for a change of pace. Modern bodybuilding gyms are usually better equipped than the gyms of old, and resistance training machines are more sophisticated than they were during the golden era of bodybuilding. However, like today, compound exercises such as squats and bench presses were the foundation of most muscle-building workouts. But when it comes to nutrition, things have changed a fair bit. During the 1970s and 1980s, processed foods were almost unheard of, and supplements were much less common. Bodybuilders ate quite normally, and very few followed what could be described as a fad diet. So, how did the bodybuilding stars of the golden era fuel their workouts and eat for muscle mass? Let's take a look. Protein. As every bodybuilder knows, protein is the most critical nutrient for building muscle. When you train, you cause microscopic damage to your muscle tissues. With rest, your body repairs this damage so that your muscles grow back bigger and stronger. This is a process called anabolism. Your body uses protein like a builder uses bricks to shore up the trauma of training. Or, more specifically, the amino acids in protein. Modern bodybuilders eat a lot of protein but also make sure that they get enough of this critical macronutrient by using protein shakes. There are lots to choose from, including whey protein, caseinate, beef isolate, and plant-based protein powders, all of which come in various flavors. Old-school bodybuilders did not have access to such an array of protein powders. Yes, things like milk and egg protein powders existed, but they didn't taste very good and often caused severe stomach upsets, so they weren't as popular as they are today. So, how did the bodybuilders of the golden era make sure they consumed enough protein? In most cases, they ate a lot of meat and other animal products. Vegetarian bodybuilders were few and far between, with Bill Pearl being the most notable exception. The majority of successful bodybuilders during this time ate meat several times per day and in large quantities. High-protein staples from the golden era of bodybuilding include: beef steak was especially popular. Chicken and turkey cooked in their skin. Eggs usually eaten whole. Fish, especially tuna. Cottage cheese. Milk. One of the most popular bulking diets of this time was the gallon of milk a day diet, or GOMAD for short. This diet is as simple as it sounds: eat normally and drink a gallon of milk a day. This was an easy and cheap way to increase protein and calorie intake. Needless to say, this was not a diet for anyone with lactose intolerance. The GOMAD diet was often combined with the 20-rep squat routine for bulking purposes. Carbohydrate. Carbohydrates provide you with the energy you need to work out. When you eat carbs, they are digested and broken down into glucose. That glucose is then stored in your liver and muscles as glycogen, while some remains in your blood to fuel your brain. Excess glucose is converted to and stored as fat. Like modern bodybuilders, old-school bodybuilders understood the importance of eating enough carbohydrates, but not consuming so much they gained too much fat. One way they did this was by carb cycling. In simple terms, carb cycling involves manipulating your intake according to your current training phase. For example, during the lead-up to competition, a low-carb diet can help shed body fat. For old-school bodybuilders, that usually meant eating less bread, rice, and potatoes and more salad and non-starchy vegetables. Some bodybuilders took a more radical approach to pre-contest nutrition and eliminated carbs altogether. Bodybuilding guru Vince Gironda put his athletes on a steak and egg-only diet for the 3 weeks leading up to a show. However, Gironda was considered something of a maverick, and a lot of bodybuilders ate carbs all year round, albeit in varying amounts. Popular old-school bodybuilding carb foods included potatoes, yams, and other starchy vegetables, bread, rice, pasta, oatmeal, pancakes, fruit, especially bananas. Fats. One of the most significant differences between the old-school bodybuilding diet and the modern bodybuilding diet is the amount and type of fat consumed. Where many modern bodybuilders try to keep their fat intake relatively low, golden era bodybuilders used to eat fat in abundance. The main source of fat in the old-school bodybuilding diet was protein. Things like red meat, dairy, and whole eggs all contain a lot of fat. Chicken and turkey were also eaten with the skin intact, which is another source of fat. In contrast, most modern bodybuilders rely on lower fat and fat-free protein foods and pick the fats they do eat more carefully, such as olive oil, avocados, and flax seeds. Egg white omelets, skinless chicken breasts, and fat-free protein shakes are current dietary staples. Fat is an important nutrient that plays an essential part in the synthesis of anabolic hormones, including testosterone, growth hormone, and IGF-1. A very low-fat diet is not necessarily healthy and could even impair muscle growth. However, fat is also calorically dense, coming in at 9 calories per gram, as opposed to 4 calories a gram for both carbs and protein. Because of this, some old-school bodybuilders would reduce their fat intake during the run-up to a show. The rest of the time, many would purposely eat more fat to help them gain weight and bulk up. It was not uncommon for the bodybuilders of the golden era to chug down cups of cream to make sure they gained weight in the off-season. Supplements. The bodybuilding supplement industry was in its infancy during the 1970s and 1980s. Most golden era bodybuilders relied almost entirely on food to meet their nutritional needs. A few supplements were in use, although their impact and benefit were very low. Old-school bodybuilding supplements include brewer's yeast, a source of B vitamins; desiccated liver, a source of protein, vitamins, and minerals; milk and egg protein powder; chitosan, a fat blocker used during cutting made from crushed seashells; vanadyl sulfate to increase insulin sensitivity; sodium bicarbonate to neutralize the effect of lactic acid; glandulous, dried animal testes, thought to be a source of testosterone; multivitamins and minerals. Compared to what is available now, this is a very short list. However, it was around this time that more supplements were being developed, and things like creatine were gaining popularity. Nowadays, supplements like fat burners, testosterone boosters, pre-workout energizers, and protein shakes are commonplace. Sample old-school bodybuilding diet. Breakfast: beef patty or bacon, 3 whole eggs, cottage cheese, oatmeal, orange juice. Mid-morning snack: can of tuna or hard-boiled eggs. Lunch: chicken or fish, large salad, baked potato, milk. Mid-afternoon snack: can of tuna or hard-boiled eggs. Dinner: steak or chicken with rice and vegetables, milk. Evening snack: cottage cheese and vegetable omelette. In simple terms, eating like an old-school bodybuilder means mainly eating natural food and eating lots of it. Try to eat protein at every meal, get your carbs from things like oatmeal, rice, and potatoes, and don't worry too much about the naturally occurring fats in things like eggs, meat, and dairy. Providing you are training hard enough, some natural dietary fats should actually do you good. Well, this is all about the basics of golden era's nutrition. If you find this video helpful, like and share it. Subscribe to this channel for more exciting content in the future. Stay hydrated and stay motivated. We will be back soon with a new video. Be legendary.